enough, O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. For thus saith Yahweh of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Brother Jonas, and the title of this video is The Man of Sin and Son of Perdition Revealed. 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 3. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. The Most High tells us not to let anyone deceive us by any means, because that day or the return of Christ will not come until a falling away takes place. And that has to happen to Israel, and that man of sin be revealed, who is the son of perdition. From the time just prior to 70 AD, two things had to take place before the return of Christ. The falling away of the Israelites, not Christianity, that the Most High don't care about, and the man of sin be revealed, who is the son of perdition. Then we will soon see the return of Christ. That man of sin eludes many, because the man of sin is in plain sight. The best place to hide everything is in plain sight. Paul and many of the followers of Christ thought it would happen in their time, but it would be about 2,000 years later in our time. So we need a description of this man of sin and son of perdition. Who is this wascally wabbit? Let's look up perdition first, because this will help us in pinning the tail on the right donkey, or hitting the bullseye with our biblical analysis. Perdition. Perditio, from perdo, to lose, to ruin. Definition number 1. Entire loss or ruin, utter destruction, as the perdition of the Turkish fleet. In this sense, the word is now nearly or wholly obsolete. Description number 2, or definition number 2, and this is the one we want. The utter loss of the soul, or of final happiness in a future state, future misery, or eternal death. The impenitent sinner is condemned to final perdition. If we reject the truth, we seal our own perdition. And then definition number 3 is simply loss. If you know scriptures and have lived on this earth for 20 years or more, the number 2 definition of perdition should tell you loudly who the man of sin and son of perdition is in this present world. Let's move on to the description of this man of sin and son of perdition in the word of the Most High. 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 4, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he as God sitteth in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Now, this says a lot, but let's get into it. This man opposeth or is against all that is called God, or that is worshipped, and this man exalted or considers himself higher or greater than all that is called God, or that is worshipped, so that he, thinking himself to be God, sit in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. This man also sit in the temple of God, which people call a church today, showing himself that he is God. How? By hanging statues of a white Jesus, stained glass with the white Jesus, using the scriptures that were given to the Most High's true people. That's right. The Bible that's in the hands of most people in the world are stolen. They belong to the children of Israel. The Israelites, and professing himself to be God's children and chosen people. And by changing everything under the sun, such as genetically modifying food, that's somebody trying to be godlike. Modifying plants, genetically modifying animals, creating hybrids, and now people. So I would say we have a very good starting point in figuring out who that man of sin is. And it's not a single man. No, it's not a single man as Christianity will have you to believe. No, brothers and sisters, that man of sin and son of perdition is a people. And we know them as Edom, also known as Edomites or Caucasians that came from the Caucasus Mountains, who we today call the white man. Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Who covers the faces of the judges or rulers who are Israelites? Edom does. The so-called white man has whited out many of the true images of history to portray himself as the true children of God, when in fact they are the children of Satan, the father of lies. Malachi 1 verse 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh hath indignation forever. There is no people on the earth more wicked than Edom. Edom would be called the border of wickedness, and they are the people whom Yahweh have indignation or anger mixed with contempt and disgust forever. Notice of importance. Notice of importance. Not everyone that look white is an Edomite, and not everyone that looks black is an Israelite or an African, which is a Hamite. The majority of Edomites that are in control of this world are non-melanated, or they look white. Edom is the man of sin, speaking in terms of a nation of people that was chosen by the Most High. That's right, they were chosen for a certain thing, just like Judas Iscariot was chosen for a specific purpose, just like Pharaoh was chosen for a specific purpose when we were in the land of Egypt. Edom was chosen for a specific purpose, and it should be quite clear what that is. So, why do they have to be revealed? Because they are wicked and present themselves as an angel or messenger of light. But in reality, they are a primary cause of all the problems in the world. And you know what? All the other nations in the world know it. But they have a Talmud with them and can't just fully come out and blast them like they want to. Everything is good. Then they wickedly create a problem and present a wicked solution that enrich themselves in some way and enlarge hell for those involved or affected by their plans. And they then say, look at what we have created. Now, I want all of you to understand that I don't by any means hate any nation or people. I might not like what they have done or is doing, but I don't hate them. Hate is a powerful emotion that should be left to the Creator Yahweh. It is impossible for me to hate the Egyptian or an Edomite who is the so-called white man, and get into the kingdom. I can't hate them and get into the kingdom. It will violate a commandment by the Most High. Look here. Deuteronomy 23, verse 7. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land. So you see, the Edomite was our brother. You know, this goes back to the sons of Isaac, Esau and Jacob. They were brothers, and the Most High considered us brothers. And he tells us that we should not abhor him. And then it goes to the Egyptian. The Egyptians nourished us in their land for 400 years. And then we came out of there. So we're not to hate the Egyptians either. Now, I don't have to love them. I don't have to like them or the things they do. And I don't have to hang out with them or any other heathen for that matter. I wanted to make this clear because this lesson or any of my lessons are not about hate or racism or black supremacy. It's about the truth of the word and the truth concerning the destiny of the Israelites, who will be above all people and rule with Christ, as the Bible says. Now, you can take this any way you want. Let's continue with the man of sin and son of perdition. To hone in on this man's or Edom's true nature, we have to go back to Genesis. Because this man's spirit or this people's spirit has a beginning, and it begins with Cain. Yes, they have the spirit of Cain. Genesis 4, verse 1. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from Yahweh. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. So Eve had two sons. This is important in the sense of all things experienced. Example, right and wrong, good and evil, up and down, righteous and wicked, man and woman, night and day, life and death, etc. Also keep in mind that Cain came first, then Abel. Esau came first, and then Jacob. Adam came in the flesh first, and then Christ. Are you starting to see the pattern? Verse 3. And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto Yahweh. The sons of Eve knew who Yahweh was and recognized his greatness and brought an offering. Cain brought a fruit basket, in a manner of speaking. You see, Edom do that today. See, that trait carries on even today. Verse 4. And Abel, he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof. And Yahweh had respect unto Abel and to his offering. Abel brought of the firstling of his flock meat, something that was living and breathing. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect, and Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. The Most High did not respect Cain's offering of fruit, and Cain got angry just as Esau or Edom does today. Edom takes your land, commits genocide against your people, kidnaps you into slavery, gives you a false sense of freedom, low-paying jobs, and welfare, and expects you to be grateful for the rest of your lives. And when you're not, they get angry. Verse 6. And Yahweh said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? The Most High said to Cain, Why are you angry with me? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Edom, or should I say Cain, if you do well, you will be accepted. And if you don't do well, then sin awaits at your door, and sin's desire is for you, and you must rule over it. Cain did not listen and did things his way, as he does today, and reacted too quickly without thinking. Verse 8, and Cain talked with Abel his brother. And it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. So, what transpired from Cain? Envy, anger, and hatred. This is the same spirit that Edom would inherit from their father Esau, and it will be spoken of in Ezekiel. Let's go there. Ezekiel 35, verse 10. Because thou hast said, these two nations and these two countries shall be mine, and we will possess it, whereas Yahweh was there. The Most High is prophesying against Edom because Edom said these two countries, speaking of northern kingdom Israel and southern kingdom Israel, shall be mine. They searched us out and took the lands we possessed, and Edom said, we will possess it and pretend to be them. So they took those lands that we were in Israel, northern kingdom and southern kingdom, and they searched us out in the rest of the world later on and took the lands we were in over in North America and South America, and also in Africa, Western Africa. Ezekiel 35, verse 11. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Almighty, I will even do according to thine anger, and according to thy envy, which thou hast used out of thy hatred against them, and I will make myself known among them when I have judged thee. So you see, that Cain spirit of envy, anger, and hatred towards us is in Edomites today, and they practice it by killing us with impunity, just like Cain killed Abel. Nothing new under the sun. So now the Most High cursed Cain from the earth for killing Abel, his brother. See, this is why we're not supposed to hate. Hate is a powerful emotion, and it will cause you to sin. Now let's go to Genesis 4, verse 11. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy land. So the Most High cursed Cain from the earth, and his craft or skill of farming would be harder as each century would pass. Verse 12. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shalt thou be in the earth. The Most High also cursed Cain and said he would be a fugitive and a vagabond on the earth. Edom has been displaying all the signs of Cain's curse. Look at farming today. It's destroyed. Everything sucks. Look at how Edom or white people have moved from one place to another place throughout the world, like a fugitive and a vagabond. And it started with the Greeks, then the Romans, then the Portuguese, then Spanish, then French, then English, then Americans. They're all the same people. They're all the same people. They're Edom. Verse 13. And Cain said unto Yahweh, my punishment is greater than I can bear. So Cain was scared because he had been cut off from the Most High. And I mean permanently cut off. Verse 14. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. So Cain summarized his punishment. The Most High drove him out from the face of the earth, meaning farming would be more difficult for Cain and his descendants. He also said, "From thy face shall I be hid." To be hid from the face of the Most High is to be cut off. Isaiah 54, verse 8. In a little wrath I hid my face from thee for a moment, speaking of the Israelites. But with everlasting kindness will I have mercy on thee, saith Yahweh, thy Redeemer. Speaking to the Israelites, the Most High said, in a little wrath I hid my face from thee for a moment. Israel was cut off from the Most High for a moment. But with everlasting kindness, the Most High said, will I have mercy on Israel, saith Yahweh, our Redeemer. Isaiah 64, verse 7. And there is none that calleth upon thy name, that stirreth up himself to take hold of thee. For thou hast hid thy face from us, and hast consumed us because of our iniquities. The Most High has hid his face from us, and has consumed us because of our iniquities. So you see, Cain knew the Most High had cut him off, and he is cut off permanently, forever. Genesis 4, verse 15. And Yahweh said unto him, Therefore, whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And Yahweh set a mark upon Cain. And Yahweh set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him. So the Most High helped Cain by putting a mark on him, so that others that came across him would know that there is something different about him and would leave him alone. Now, there is no scripture I have seen that says this, but I believe the mark was the absence of melanin, causing Cain to stand out from others. There's nothing else that could be that mark. It was a mark that other people recognized when they came across Cain. Oh, they could easily see it. Oh, I'm not going to mess with this dude. So it had to have been the melanin taken away from his skin. The flood takes place, and all people are killed except Noah, his 3 sons, and all the wives, 8 people in total. Times goes by, and we come to Isaac and Rebekah. Genesis 25, verse 21. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren, and Yahweh said, and Yahweh was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. The twins fought in Rebekah's womb. Remember early in the lesson, the number 2 that we talked about. So the 2 twins in Rebekah's womb fought. And she went to ask the Most High, hey, why is this going on if I'm meant to have these children? Verse 23. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. Now, we have 2 nations in Rebekah's womb, and 2 different kinds of people will be born from her, meaning 2 nations. And the one people, Israel, shall be stronger than the other people. Edom will serve the younger, Israel. It was at this time the spirit of Cain was brought back into the world in Esau. The whole 12,000 years of man's existence is a test of the spirit through the flesh. Satan's flesh proxy, Cain, was continued in Esau and his descendants, Edom. You will find all the traits of Cain in Edom. It doesn't take much to recognize it. Verse 24, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. The mark of Cain, no melanin. The child Esau came out red, all over like a hairy garment. The descendants of Esau, Edom, can be easily seen today by their characteristics. Verse 29, and Jacob sod pottage. Esau came from the field, and he was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. Now, that red pottage, it was red because of the raw meat that Jacob had just put in there. And Esau didn't care that meat was raw. He wanted to eat it anyway. So he actually probably ate some of his own venison whenever he hunted and killed. He probably ate a little bit of it red or raw before he would cook it up. Let's look at the definition of Edom. Edom, red. Number one, Edom. Number two, Edomite, Edomian or Idumean, descendants of Esau, land of Edom, Idumea, land south and south of East Palestine, part of speech, noun, proper masculine. Esau was red because of no melanin. You could see his blood through his skin. They turn very red, especially when they're angry or excited. Genesis 25:31. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. Jacob respected the importance of the birthright. It deals with the best inheritance and best blessing from the father. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. I think he was kind of lying a little bit about that. And what profit shall this birthright do to me? This is a trait of Edom. They don't care about something until they decide to care about something. And they are a liar, as we seen with Cain. And you will see with Esau as he tries to claim his birthright later. Verse 33, and Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Now Esau sold the greatest gift given to man after Christ. Christ was the greatest gift given to man. And Esau selling his birthright was second only to that. The gift of the birthright from Isaac. You see, Esau said in verse 32, what profit is there in this birthright for me at this present time? So he sold his birthright to Jacob, not intending to keep his word later. What man has broken over 500 treaties with the Native American tribes here in America? Edom, the so-called white man, the descendants of Esau, who bear the spirit of Cain, broke all the treaties from about 1776 to 1900. The United States government broke them in some way and still do today. We just haven't heard about all of them. Verse 34. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink, and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. The Most High said Esau despised his birthright by treating it with utter contempt, showing all why he and his descendants are the man of sin and son of perdition. Now, we need to look at something else. There's something else I want you to see concerning this man Esau. Let's go to Hebrews 12, verse 16. Lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For ye know how that afterward, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. So you see, there is no place of repentance for Esau, for Edom. They are a chosen people to be set in perdition. They're like Judas Iscariot. They are a chosen people for a particular reason. Let's go to Genesis 27, verse 1. And it came to pass that when Isaac was old and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau his eldest son, and said unto him, My son. And he said unto him, Behold, here I am. And he said, Behold, now I am old, and I know not the day of my death. Isaac is ready to give his blessing to his two sons, but he didn't know Esau sold his birthright. The blessings are tied to the birthrights. Verse 5. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau his son, and Esau went to the field to hunt for venison and to bring it. Do you think the Most High would give a great gift to a man of sin who was created to be the son of perdition? I think not. So Rebekah would plot to make sure Esau kept his word to Jacob, whether she knew about the deal or not. This is divine intervention. You know, the Most High's will being done. Verse 11. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man, meaning he doesn't have a lot of hair on his skin. My father peradventure will feel me, and I shall seem to him as a deceiver, and I shall bring a curse upon me and not a blessing. Jacob didn't want to go through with his mother's plans. He didn't want to be seen as a deceiver or a devil. He thought he would bring a curse upon himself and not a blessing. Verse 13. And his mother said unto him, Upon me be thy curse, my son. Only obey my voice and go fetch me them. And she put the skins of the kids of the goats upon his hands and upon the smooth of his neck. And Isaac said unto Jacob, Come near, I pray thee, that I may feel thee, my son, whether thou be my very son Esau or not. And Jacob went near unto Isaac his father, and he felt him, and said, The voice is Jacob's voice, but the hands are the hands of Esau. And he discerned him not, because his hands were hairy, and his brother Esau's hands, as his brother Esau's hands. So he blessed him. And he came near and kissed him, and he smelled the smell of his raiment, and blessed him, and said, See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which Yahweh had blessed. So Isaac said, See, the smell of my son is as the smell of a field which Yahweh had blessed. He smelled like an animal, the skins of the kids of the goats. The firstborn blessing is the best blessing and tied to the birthright. But remember, Esau sold it to Jacob, and fate or destiny made sure Jacob would receive it. Verse 28, Therefore the Most High give thee of the dew of heaven. This is important. Therefore the Most High give thee the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn, which is grain, and wine. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be every one that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. So Jacob received the best blessing, which is a blessing of ownership. The Most High gave Jacob the dew of heaven, rain to water the beautiful lands in the kingdom to come, and the fatness of the earth. All the earth is given to Jacob or Israel as an inheritance with Christ, and plenty of grain and wine. The highest quality of food and drink will belong to Israel. People will serve Jacob and later Israel, and nations will bow down to Israel in the coming kingdom. Jacob was made Lord over his brethren, Esau, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be every one that curseth thee. All those that hate us, Israelites today, are cursed. Everyone that hate us are cursed. And blessed be he that blesseth thee. And all that bless the Israelites today will be blessed in some way. Key thing in these blessings is to remember where the Most High give. The Most High give. Now you're going to see with Esau's blessing, it's not a blessing of ownership. He wasn't given anything. You'll see. Verse 30. And it came to pass as soon as Isaac had made an end of blessing Jacob, and Jacob was yet scarce gone out from the presence of Isaac his father, that Esau his brother came in from hunting. You see, all this good timing was no coincidence. The will of the Most High was playing out to correct Esau coming out of the womb first. The brothers fought in Rebekah's womb, and to make sure Esau kept his word that he swore. Remember, he swore to Jacob to give him his birthright. Verse 31. And he also had made savory meat and brought it in unto his father, and said unto his father, Let my father arise and eat of his son's venison, that thy soul may bless me. Oh, he felt like he was sitting in the catbird seat. He finna get this blessing, which he knew he had sold to Jacob. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn. What? Thy firstborn, Esau. Isaac is a little bit in shock. He said, Who there? Who that? And Esau said, I am your son, your firstborn. Now, all of a sudden, Esau want to recognize himself as the firstborn and reap all that came with that right, not caring that he sold that right and blessing some time ago. Verse 33. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, Who? Where is he that had taken venison and brought it me? And I have eaten of all before thou camest, and have blessed him. Yea, and he shall be blessed. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly because he realized that something was wrong. He got. Isaac knew the power of the blessing because he said, Yea, and he shall be blessed. Speaking of Jacob. Verse 34. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great and exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy Lord. So Isaac told Esau, I have made Jacob your Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? Jacob was made Lord over Esau and all of his descendants. Verse 38. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Now, these blessings will also help you to identify the man of sin, the son of perdition, because his sins will be tied directly to his blessing. His sins will be tied directly to his blessings. Verse 39. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. See, there is no ownership in this blessing. Nothing was given to him. It was just spoken to him what he would have. There is no ownership in this blessing. Only temporary rulership by force or wickedness of blood shed. Thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth. It was not given to him. It just told him what he would have. Esau would live in the best lands and of the dew of heaven from above, will provide the riches of good farmland, as he took those farmlands. Edom could feed the world with those good farmlands they took. Verse 40, and by thy sword shalt thou live. See, this is the wickedness that is tied to the blessing that Esau received. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. By Edom's sword will they live. Edom will take everything they have by force, by war, by threats, by deceit, and will serve his brother Jacob. And they did during King David's time, and will serve again when Christ returns. It shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. The yoke was broken after King Solomon. Verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob. What? This kind of going back to that Cain thing. Cain hated Abel, and Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then I will slay my brother Jacob. Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing his father blessed him with. That hatred still runs deep today with Israel. And Edom also hates the nations, but worst of all, he hates himself. The Cain spirit that's in Edom, along with Jacob getting the blessing that goes with the birthright that Esau sold to Jacob, has made him the man of sin and son of perdition. Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I kill my brother Jacob. And Edom, which is Esau's descendants, has been hating us and killing us ever since. The man of sin is easy to identify, easy to see when you truly open your eyes. It's Esau and his descendants, the Edomites, the so-called white people, the son of perdition, the vessels of wrath or people of wrath, fitted or created for destruction. Let's go to Romans 9, verse 22. What if the Most High, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering the vessels of wrath fitted to destruction? That's Edom, the man of sin and son of perdition, because in him lives the spirit of Cain. And that he might make known the riches of his glory on the vessels of mercy, which he had afore prepared unto glory. The vessels of mercy, Israel, which he had long ago prepared or predestined for glory. Obadiah 1 verse 18. And the house of Jacob shall be a fire, and the house of Joseph a flame, and the house of Esau for stubble, and they shall kindle in them and devour them, and there shall not be any remaining of the house of Esau, for Yahweh has spoken it. Remember the second definition of perdition: the utter loss of the soul or of final happiness in a future state, future misery, or eternal death. The impenitent sinner is condemned to final perdition. The man of sin is revealed, and the son of perdition is revealed. He is Edom, the descendants of Esau. And Obadiah 1:18 said, there will not be anyone remaining of the house of Esau or house of Edom, because Yahweh have spoken it. Peace, Israel. TikTok.